Hello, happy Saturday. Hope everybody's having an incredible start to your weekend. Beautiful Saturday here in Connecticut. And, my name is Jeff Street. I teach people how to make money from home online. And today I want to talk to you about some lessons that I've learned over the last 60 days. Some lessons that I've learned in developing a new habit of going live on Facebook every single day for the last 66 days in a row. Something, that fear got the best of me literally until 66 days ago when I started to go out and develop this new habit. So I want to talk to you about some lessons, 5 lessons, maybe even more than that, but at least 5 lessons I'm going to give you today from what I've learned over the last 66 days, doing this consistently every single day for 66 days straight. So if you're watching here, drop a comment that says lesson. So we're going to talk about some lessons, today. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the fact that you're going to find that over time, you're going to go out and get comfortable being uncomfortable. Meaning even 66 days into this, as this is starting to now become a habit, still hitting the start button, starting to talk, there's still a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling, about doing it. But that's okay, because now I'm starting to become comfortable being uncomfortable. And they say that success lives outside of your comfort zone. And one of the biggest keys is you got to go out and just start. See, the hardest part of winning a race is getting off the starting line. And what usually prevents people from starting is fear. But the antidote to fear is action. So again, what's up, Mr. Billy Forte? So again, action is the antidote of fear. So that's one thing you got to learn. So I'll never forget, 66 days ago, I went to go out and do one of these for the first time. I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to call it. I don't really know what I'm doing. So the very first live that I did, and you can go back on my feed, I think it was like August 13th, I believe might have been the day. But the first one was, have you ever wanted to do a Facebook Live, but you're worried about what to say? So literally, that was my first conversation. That was my first content. That was the first video I did 66 days ago was, have you ever wanted to do a Facebook Live, but you were worried about what to say? And that's what I talked about. The fact, I'm worried about what to say right now, but I'm just going to do it anyway, because I know I got to push through that, that fear, and I remember the first time that I did it. Another lesson that I learned, actually, lesson number 2 that I learned is if you're going to do this and you're going to do it consistently, go out and get a tripod. Right now my phone is clipped to a tripod, so it's not shaking, when I'm talking or anything like that. The very first one that I did, I literally propped my phone up against my old cell phone I always keep on my desk from my old cell phone stores, and I had another box there, and I had it propped up, and I, hit the start button, and, it was sitting there, and it was, God forbid if somebody called me during it, would have fallen over, and at the end, when I clicked on the finish button at the end, as I clicked on finish, the phone literally fell over. So a lesson that I learned from doing this is, be professional in anything that you did. I went out and got a tripod for myself, put some lighting, behind it. But literally that fast one, when I hit finish at the other, I'm finally done with my first one. As I did it, boom, the phone fell over. And I picked up the phone. I was like, I wonder if you're going to see the phone falling over in the video. I wonder if you'd even, shared. But again, the hardest part of winning a race is getting off the starting line. And action is definitely the antidote, to fear. Second thing that I learned is you got to go out and make it a habit. Or third thing, rather, is you got to go out and make it a habit when you're doing something, new. So I remember hearing, a long time ago that if you do something 30 days in a row, it becomes a habit. If you want something to become habitual, do it 30 days in a row, and all of a sudden it becomes a habit. And I remember I was at like day 28, day 29. I'm like, yes, it's almost a habit. I'm doing great. Everybody type in habit. Somebody type in habit in the comment section for me if you can. So, so I was like, yes, I'm almost at that habit. But I'm always looking to read, always looking to grow for myself. The law of the universe, we're either growing or we're dying. And so I'm reading this book, at that time, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, thinking to myself, I'm getting close to my 30 days. But then in David's book that constantly just challenged me anyway, all of a sudden I read that he said you got to do something 66 days in a row to develop a habit. And here I was thinking I was close to the finish line of what I originally set out to do, and I wasn't even at the halfway mark. And, speaking of David Goggins, here's my favorite quote, from David Goggins, from that book that I read that, certainly I believe applies to everything, because were there times over the last 66 days that I didn't want to go live. I was like, I'm not going to do it today. I'm not going to do a video today. I've got no content. I don't know what to say. Maybe I should just stop. Sure. Absolutely. And here's David's quote. He says, everyone comes to a point in their life when they want to quit. But it's what you do at that moment that determines who you are. Everyone comes to a point in their life when they want to quit, but it's what you do at that moment that determines who you are. I love that quote. And so I was like, all right, hey, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. So another thing that I've learned, over doing these Facebook Lives is to switch it up, to go out and not always be in the same place. And it was interesting for me that, some days I would do them in my car. I'd have the top down driving around on a nice day. I'd park somewhere. And because I switched it up and did something different, all of a sudden my views on those days started to go up just because people saw me, somewhere different. I would maybe put a hat on instead of my hair being done nice. And I was like, something different, switched it up a little bit. Again, it increased my views. But, one of the biggest things that I learned is how much people like my wife. And any time that my wife, Melissa, was part of my Facebook Lives, it was crazy. It was like double the views anytime that her and I did it together. And I realized, okay, people like my wife a lot more than me. But no, but really what I learned was just, again, there's power in us doing it together as a couple. I learned that people wanted to, learn and hear from a couple that were doing something together. There's that, power couple, saying. So when I would switch it up and I would have Melissa, on the lives with me again, the views went through the roof. Another thing that was interesting is that, in the beginning, I was so nervous that I would get on and I wouldn't say exactly what I wanted to say and how am I going to look? How am I going to look for people? Geraldo, I appreciate you liking my humor there. So, and I used to put these little notes right on the side here on little like Post-it notes, like this. And I would put this like on the side here onto my phone that I always have sitting here. It kind of look like this. And you could see me like in the videos like, and I was like, wow, you can actually see me reading the notes. So I stopped doing that. And now a lot of times I'm not reading, notes anymore. But, on the bottom of my tripod, I actually have my notebook right here just with some bullet points that, if I need to, I can look down real quick, see something, and all of a sudden I just start going again because I'm, again, learning that habit. So, there's a few different, takeaways. I also learned about engagement. That's something else too. At the very end, at first, I wasn't, asking people to do anything, like to comment. I wasn't asking people to share. By the way, share the video. If you're getting something out of this, hit the share button right now. So I wasn't doing anything like that. And then I learned how it's important to go out and engage your audience. You might have noticed that, during the conversation, I, said something to Billy who had logged in. I said something to Geraldo. I see Dennis is watching right now. And, it's funny is in the beginning, I couldn't even look at the things that were popping up as I was talking to, because all I was focused on was getting my message out, and my skill set wasn't at the point that I could talk and do a message and actually see what was going on in the live stream at the same time. So again, consistency is just the key to anything. It's funny, I was telling somebody earlier on today, we're doing an accountability group challenge, with our, business organization, with our team, and I was talking to somebody today, it's like, do you think I can do it? And we're talking about, he's like, what? That doesn't sound like a whole lot. Like, wait, it's just about doing it a little bit every day. It's just doing a little bit every day. It's like if you go to the gym and you start doing bicep curls with a 25-pound weight, and all of a sudden, the next day somebody gives you a 45-pound weight, that second day, you're probably not going to do it. But if you build yourself up to that, if you do those 25s, different days consistently, all of a sudden you go from 25 to 30 and do that consistently, and then 35, and before you know it, you're at 45 because you built yourself up to it. So, I've started to build myself up to it, but again, engagement is something that I've learned. You've heard me, say many times, drop a comment. Matter of fact, if you're watching right now, drop a comment that says 66 days. Krista Sanborn, I see you watching. So drop a comment that says 66 days, because now this is the 66th day. As of today, supposedly according to Mr. David Goggins, I guess this is now a habit, for me, which is something I'm really excited about. But again, I've learned so much just over the last 66 days. I can't wait to see what I'm going to learn over the, next 60 days. But I've definitely stretched myself, definitely went out and put myself out there outside of my comfort zone. And again, success lives outside of your comfort zone. So, there's a handful of lessons, but the biggest lesson is the first lesson is start. Remember, action is the antidote of fear. Remember, the hardest part of winning a race is getting off the starting line. So it doesn't have to be, Facebook Live. If you want to go out and develop a new habit for yourself, do it 66 days in a row. Start, go out and just do it. It's going to get better. You're going to get better while you're doing it. Get out your comfort zone and do it every single day, and just go out and be consistent. So again, if you got something out of today's, live, hit the share button so somebody else can get a chance to, hear the message. If you think it'd be valuable for other people to hear today, drop a comment again that says 66 days. Again, 66 days to go out and turn something into a habit. My name is Jeff Street. I teach people how to make money from home online. Hope everybody is having an incredible start to your weekend. Have a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.